The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret recurring subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com/bonus and use the promo code MANWHORE. Looking to buy something to put in you or to put your dick inside of? Head on over to BeYourLover.com and enjoy 20% off any one item when you use promo code MANWHORE at checkout. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
All right, what's up, all you fan whores, man whores, and sluts alike? This is Billy Procida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. And I am joined by a wonderful co-host for this intro, V Club educator Jamie Ansley.
Ansley. Thank you.
It's great Kansas type of name. Jamie Ansley from Topeka, Kansas. Hi, let me teach you about your vagina. Your vagina.
My vagina. Aw, I miss Louie.
Oh, we miss him too. He's got to go away for a little. He'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back one day. But thank you for joining me. We just recorded a wonderful bonus episode.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah? You had good?
I'm warmed up now.
You're warmed up? Oh, well, now she's warmed up. Good. Well, I want to tell y'all a little bit more about that bonus episode and learn some more about you in a bit. But first, show dates, people. Show dates. New York City, November 8th, I'm going to be at the Brooklyn House of Comedy at 8 o'clock p.m. I think that's a free show. And then I'm going to be in Mishawaka, Indiana, which is allegedly the name of a place, on September 18th at Smokestack Brew, 8 p.m. show. I am certain that one is a freebie. So come on out. How often am I in Indiana? Like never. So you should come out to shows. I've also been on some podcasts recently. Chime in if you've heard of any of these podcasts. I'm gonna list off. I was recently on an episode of Dude Talks to a Lady.
Oh.
Which is hosted by this great comic, Janet Hyde. She talks to male comedians about a joke of theirs about women.
Ooh, I gotta subscribe to that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I like I've been following it for like about a year or so. I was like, oh, I should listen. I started listening. It became my new go-to like fill-in podcast. I was thrilled that Janet wanted to have me on. Yeah. I told a joke of mine about threesomes.
Ooh, I gotta hear that.
Well, then you're gonna have to go listen to my episode of Dude Talks to a Lady. I was also recently on Tinder Tales again.
Yes.
Are you
familiar with that one?
Oh, you know Tinder Tales.
Yeah, I know Dave.
You know David Piccolomini, our favorite little dude with our favorite little guy with that big dick privilege. That was the title of his episode when he was on this podcast, Big Dick Privilege. So I was on there for a second time. Go check that out. And then I was also on yesterday, Keith and the Girl. Love being on Keith and the Girl. It is a long run-in, 10 plus years podcast. They're great. And actually, one of the co-hosts of Keith and the Girl is on the podcast today, Chemda. And I cannot wait to share her with you all in a bit. But first, I want to share you with my wonderful listeners. Jamie is an educator over at the V Club. Would you care to give the elevator pitch of the V Club?
Sure. The V Club is brand new in New York City, and we're located in Chelsea, Manhattan. We have a beautiful studio where we teach masterclasses for women of all ages. We teach about sexual health, wellness, relationships. We teach practical techniques. And
lots of come hither motions.
Lots of come. Yeah, sure. That's one way to find the G spot, right?
Is there another way?
Well, it's more about timing. It's less about, ways to find it, but it's about timing because it only comes out to say hello
once every 9 years. Yeah, every fortnight. The G spot peeks out.
Everybody's got to get to know that G spot. It does exist.
I think everyone who listens knows it exists, and I think we all know that whole come hither motion. But it's news to me that there was another method to hitting it.
Well, take our class. Ladies come first. You can take it, Billy. We'll invite you. But it's a matter of angles. If women are familiar with how to angle their bodies so that the penis hits the G-spot directly, and that's pretty key.
Where my penis doesn't have to have a natural curve on it.
You don't have to have a gonzo penis. If you do, go to the hospital. But no, if you have a reasonably straight penis, as long as you can figure out ways to angle your body, you could use a bolster. You could take our class and learn 13 different positions.
13 for
So
probably
many.
a very affordable price. And y'all are also now offering classes online, so you don't have to even be in New York City.
Exactly.
You could be anywhere,
Could be
and
anywhere
take these classes.
in the
So that
world.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
And also, the V Club was very nice to host our little kickoff soiree for ManwhoreCon this year.
Yeah, we were so happy to host you guys. It was so cool. I loved the energy. I loved the folks who came out. It was like, yay, we get to help kick off this amazing weekend.
Yeah, and it was an amazing weekend, I think, in part because we got to have that nice, low-key social meet and greet mixer over at your venue, which was
Always
fantastic.
a good idea to have that like warm-up period.
Yeah. Whether it's sex or a weekend of, sex positive activities and sex, whatever.
You gotta have the foreplay. Come on.
Yeah. And the V Club was wonderful foreplay. So thank you so much for hosting us.
Absolutely.
And thanks for doing the bonus episode before. Talked a bit about your history with getting into sex education and your history as a psychoanalyst and also as a clown,
Yes.
which I did not know until just now.
I promise I wasn't a scary clown.
Is there such a thing?
Yes.
What did you and Courtney think of like us ManwhoreCon folk?
Oh, we loved you guys. We really did.
Because like for me, like I'm there, like I'm running the thing, and then they're all just enjoying hanging out with each other. But y'all two, you and one of the co-founders, we're just kind of hanging out and observing it, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I know that Courtney and I, afterwards, we talked about how wonderful and refreshing it was to have a group of people who were very open about sex and sexuality and, willing to have this conversation, because that's what we want to do with the V Club. We want to provide a space where people can feel comfortable talking about this, but you obviously do that with Manwhore Podcast and your whole thing, right? So we love that. We love that about you. And it was really nice because it's so strange. In New York City, you would expect that most everybody would be pretty open and, confident in their sexual pursuits, but it's really not true. There's still taboo, even in New York City, and people have a lot to learn. And I love it when I get to meet women who are brave enough to come in and say, hey, I really do want to learn more. And, I didn't get the education that I wanted to. And I'm like, who did? Who really did? Unless you seek it out in this special way, you don't really get that education about your own body and how it works in sex and your partner's body. So it's really exciting. I love my job.
Which clown class taught you how to know your body?
Oh God, I wish you didn't know that I was a clown, but no,
Yeah, it
that's
was
fine.
a huge mistake to let me
Yeah,
know.
huge.
Really want to stay in the look. Everyone, be out about who you are on the inside, but stay in that fucking closet about what face paint you used to put on.
Oh, I didn't wear face paint. That's too scary because I worked in hospital settings. So who wants to see a white face, up close and personal when they're in their hospital bed and they can't move? So I have strong opinions about that.
Did you just wear like a red nose? Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big shoes.
It was like an urban clown kind of a look.
An urban clown look.
Yeah. Just like
Interesting.
red Converse, and I had a cool costume.
You're gonna have to show me a picture later.
I will.
Well, let's get to some emails I've gotten recently. I haven't read emails on the podcast in a while. The first one actually comes from the co-founder of the V Club, Courtney Kleeman. Courtney actually came to my live podcast at ManwhoreCon that y'all heard last week, and she just shot me off a random email saying, Billy, I loved the live taping of the show. The energy, raw emotion, and openness that you show yourself and bring out in others are so freeing and empowering. I am a huge fan and been telling everyone about your podcast. Well, that is a fun, really nice, lofty way to say thanks for embarrassing yourself in front of a full crowd with your exes on stage.
Oh my goodness. No, Courtney told me in person that she just loved what you do and the energy, like she said in her email. But I think she and I both really love your vulnerability. I think that is super attractive and speaks to every human. We need to be more vulnerable.
Yeah, and here I just thought it was the blue eyes. I don't know. I just thought I was being shameless, because that's all I really know how to do. They're like, yeah, you could have talent and comedy chops, or I could just overshare professionally. That seems easier.
I love it.
Well, I got another email from a different Courtney, titled August 8th podcast, which was with Nicole. We all remember Nicole. Courtney writes, not sure if you were joking about your vegan comment on today's podcast or not. And I do not remember I don't remember what I say on this show. If you're going to have to reference specifically what I said, because as soon as the thing goes live, like it leaves my head. I am just like, I've got to go into a notebook just to find out what I maybe said about vegans. But she said there's a ton of great info out there, but I recommend the documentary Forks Over Knives on Netflix. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen that one. No.
Me neither. Do you watch documentaries?
Sometimes, yeah. I love documentaries. I just haven't seen that one. I used to be a vegan.
You used to be a vegan?
Yeah.
And then you saw the meat, the light? You saw the light shining down on the meat and was like, I should eat that?
Well, I probably wasn't doing it, quote unquote, right, because I lost so much weight. I was like, I was a twig, basically, and I got ill. There's nothing wrong with being a vegan. I think it's great. It's just, I don't think it's for every single person in the world. I think everybody's different. You gotta find your thing.
Find your thing. And if being a vegan's your thing, maybe you're wrong. It's okay. She says, it's only an hour and a half and so informative and eye-opening. I was left thinking, ignorance truly is bliss afterward. Let me know what you think. Courtney, I will put it on my list, but I think as we all know with Netflix lists, who knows if I'm going to get to that.
Such a rabbit hole.
It's just, you put a lot of things on the list and that's like as if you watched it. That's sometimes the closest I get to watching a movie is I put it on my Netflix queue. Is there anything on your Netflix queue that you're just like, oh, like it's been there for fucking ever and you can't bring yourself to take the 90 minutes to watch it?
Oh, God. I can hardly even choose a movie, let alone put something in my queue. And yeah, it's sad. I can't even have like the attention span to dive into a movie because most movies are not good enough.
Oh, and then I'm 100 minutes later, I'm like, oh, my time just got wasted.
Yeah.
So I have to be like, am I really willing to gamble that this is going to be worth my time? I don't know. I didn't realize that like me talking about vegans was going to cause such a stir. But like, then I was getting tweets. One came from at Anon Freely, who I think after we read these, and I'm hoping you will be able to assist me in this reading, is a trained actress yourself.
Of course.
Bit of a bro, he reads. He reads like a bro, which is weird to hear from a vegan. Because I do not picture them fist pumping, because that takes so much energy. Okay, so I would like you to read me, and I will read him. So I'm reading the parts in the small box, and then you'll read the part outside. So I go first, then you. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. So I get this dude just randomly tweets me like, hey, Billy, why you hating on vegans, bruh?
It's so fun and still socially acceptable.
It is. No, you're still allowed to make fun of them. I don't know for how much longer, but I can still make fun of vegans. So he replied, you're a comedian, so I'll let it slide. But if you slip up after we take over, though, I'm going to peg you without consent. Love the show, by the way, just not the vegan hate and keep that dick clean.
You wouldn't have the energy to rape me.
Dude threatened to rape me for making vegan jokes. What the fuck?
Damn.
That's a little, it's just, vegan
and rape, they just don't go together.
I think that's my first rape threat.
Wow.
Papa got his first rape threat.
How do you feel about that?
So uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he realized that's what he did.
Yeah.
I think he actually replied back to that. And then he was like, you underestimate vegan stamina. Oh, what the fuck? Bitches be running from the only meat I'm willing to serve up. Better not leave the house without a chastity plug. Really emphasizing, bruh, I'm gonna rape you if you keep making fun of vegans. So uncomfortable.
Yes.
Being a woman in the world, how do y'all do it every day? I don't know.
Goodness.
So that was, things I got. I got one more email. This one comes from Sarah. No subject line. So I don't think you could understand the impact of your podcast for someone like me. I'm from the land that brought us Mike Pence, and some of our politicians are saying he's gotten too liberal. I drive past the church every day that damns to hell a new group every week, whether it's the gays or fornicators. Public arousal is literally illegal here. No one says sex is okay. It's not openly talked about, and when it is, it's not in a positive way. It can be really isolating and toxic for a bisexual that's into BDSM. I know I can't be the only one you've given an outlet to. Your podcast has answered a lot of questions I didn't have anyone to ask. And it's a weekly reminder that there's a whole world out there who doesn't consider sex to be something shameful. Whether you know it or not, your podcast is a gift to a lot of people. Now, coming back full circle, I've been the girl who turns my back on the scale at the doctor's office, and it hurts my heart that you're there now. Please, if there's ever something I can do to help you feel as awesome as you are, don't hesitate to drop me a line. If it's not something, but I think you're incredibly sexy. I'm not going to skip over that part. That's just always very fun to read. But I want to make sure you feel that way too. Anyway, happy Monday.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm feeling a lot of heart with that one.
A lot of heart in that one.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite emails. I mean, granted, they're nice emails. They're not like the ones where people threaten to rape me. But,
Exactly.
it's... I appreciate that, Sarah. Thank you for your offer, and thank you for the kind words. So, but yeah, those are nice words, and I love reading your nice words. So you're always welcome to send your comments, your questions, your titty pictures, whatever you want, over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. I did get a literal titty singular picture from a dude who joined our Fan Whore Fantasy Football League this week. As a thank you for putting me in the league, here's my wife's tit.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I said the buy-in is still $30. You still...
Yeah, it's not going to buy you. Yeah.
Yeah, you still need to Venmo me.
Well, okay, wait. Did his wife know that he sent that?
I am going to assume so. I can't keep track of all... I don't get a clearance form. I don't send out a clearance form every time someone sends me nudes. I just have to hope people are being ethical when they do so. Mm-hmm. But that was a kind of fun.
I was once sent someone's boobs via text.
You were sent something way more than just boobs via stuff recently.
I was sent homemade porn unsolicited by someone I know, and it really scarred me because I did not want to see that. But I think that triggered another sort of traumatic experience that I had a couple years ago where this guy I was sleeping with sent me this woman's boobs because he wanted to have a threesome with me. And
everybody's sending you nudes just to get you into bed.
It's the threesome invitation, which is
you were the popular unicorn to recruit.
Man, I did not.
Have you had threesomes?
With me. No, I've never had one.
Do you want one in theory?
I don't think so. I think it's a good fantasy to have, but actually doing it is, I think, maybe not what I want.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I love to fantasize about it for sure.
Huh. Well, that's a great segue into our next little just discussion topic. Just as a friendly reminder, everybody, you can indulge in your fantasies by watching some ethical paid for porn when you go sign up at hotmovies.com. Oh, we love us some hot movies. I don't have a Did You Know segment this week. Didn't get the email, but that doesn't mean I can't tell you how wonderful it is. The person who tried to recruit you for the threesome with that unsolicited video, she was also trying to talk to you about the porn, right? She was kind of like, oh, I like porn. Do you like porn? Here's the porn I like. And you're like, I'm trying to work.
Yeah.
But she sent you some it looks like a 4 women porn website. I can't tell if it's by women because there's no name attached to any of this. But you said that you found it kind of silly, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely aesthetically beautiful.
The website's kind of cute.
It's pretty high end, I guess. The website's cute.
Yeah, like it's a nice little Squarespace layout. So I don't think Squarespace anticipated it to be used in this fashion, but hey.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, I think the scripts on this site are kind of silly and a little too nicey nice, polite.
Do you watch porn yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah? What type of porn do you like?
I'm kind of lazy. I get like, whatever, Pornhub. But I have to admit, I like the soft core, like sensual for women usually.
The for women by women stuff?
Yeah. I mean, that's really ideal. But, if a guy can nail the soft sensual stuff, then great.
Right. Well, then in that case, you'd probably enjoy like something that was nominated for a Feminist Porn Award. So hotmovies.com, you go to categories, you go to the awards section, Feminist Porn Awards, boom, 128 videos just of feminist award-winning pornography.
I love that.
And you just scroll through them. You can watch Girls Kissing Girls, My Daughter's Boyfriend, The Masseuse, who knows what, Tristan Taormino's Guide to Anal Pleasure, a classic. They got like everything here. It's kind of wild. And you can sign up for a membership and get 20 free minutes when you sign up with promo code MANWHORE. That's great.
That's such a good deal.
It's such a good deal. They have a free trial. You get 20 minutes, but you sign up with my code. You got 40 free minutes of whacking it. And you don't have to feel guilty because those studios got paid some money for it.
Ethical.
Yeah, it's very ethical.
Fantastic.
Well, because here's the thing. Sometimes you want like a membership to let's say you want a membership to this site that you think is silly, and then some other ones that gets expensive.
Yeah.
But you go to Hot Movies, just buy, you go buy some minutes. You can get 300 minutes for $30, an extra 20 minutes when you sign up with my code, and that gets you access to like all of those studios in one place.
I love it.
Because they have such a
One-stop
variety.
shop.
Yeah. Tell me, do any categories here like stand out to you? Because when I joined up on Hot Movies, I didn't even know. You're welcome to take hold of the pad. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know some of this stuff existed.
Wow. Okay.
Like even the racial section is so very specific.
Yeah,
like
it is.
Japanese, Thai, Island girls, Filipino, Chinese. And then there's still the catch-all Asian. Like they've got it really broken down.
Definitely. Ooh, lots of fetish ones. Hazing.
Like there's fetishes you didn't even know were fetishes.
I didn't know hazing was a fetish.
Damsel in distress.
Oh, pony play.
Pony play, just on the cusp of what I think is weird. Pony play, fine. Centaurs, kind of freakish.
Shaving.
Shaving? Oh, yeah, there's definitely shaving fetishes out there.
I had no idea.
I have a partner who, like, her ex liked shaving. Mm-hmm. So, like, he would shave her from time to time.
Uh-huh.
And that was apparently the only way she was going to shave her armpit hair was because of his shaving fetish. I was like, I could get a shaving fetish with that. Can I do that?
Oh, my gosh. I shaved my boyfriend.
You did?
Recently, yeah.
Yeah?
Well, with clippers. He's so hairy.
So why'd you shave? Was it like a fun couples activity or did he ask?
Well, it turned out to be fun, yeah. But I offered to help him because he has a hairy back.
Oh.
And he is so embarrassed by it. But I love it. And he can't see his back very well. He bought like a special like long arm thing to
Back
shave
shaver.
his back. But I was like, hey, I can do it for you.
It'll be bonding.
It was so bonding.
It could be date night.
Yeah, and I loved it. It was fun. It was like so satisfying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like mowing the lawn.
Did you finish shaving the back? We're like, I want to shave more.
Yes, I did.
Turn around. Let's do the front.
Yeah, we did the front too. We did the genital area.
The genital. You can say dick and balls. It's okay.
We did. Yeah,
You're not at the V Club teaching a class.
I had never shaved around someone's dick and balls, and so I was very, very cautious around those parts, and I let him do like the closest parts. But
did you do a shape?
We didn't get that artsy.
No,
but next
artsy.
time.
Next time. Now, key question. Mm-hmm. You did general region. Did you do the taint?
No, but I did the butt.
You did the butt, like the cheeks or like the whole?
The cheeks.
The cheeks.
Yeah.
He's got hairy cheeks.
Yeah.
I don't have hairy cheeks, but like I shave my whole like probably like 2 to 3 times a month, I'd say.
Nice.
No, maybe twice. Yeah. And especially if I know someone might be back there. That's an intimate experience. Oh my. But like I assume you didn't record the shaving experience for posterity?
No.
Too bad, because if you did, could have gotten paid by hotmovies.com for it.
Oh my God.
And gotten a few bucks. See, we got to always
Now
be
that I know.
plugging.
Now that I know.
So again, head on over to hotmovies.com/bonus. Use the promo code manwhore. Get yourself some minutes or try the free trial. We just want you to, hashtag pay for your porn. And if not, you know what? Hashtag pay for just a little bit of your porn. Something. Throw some money into that industry.
Definitely.
One more time, hotmovies.com/bonus. One quick announcement, everybody. Spotify listeners, I need your help on something. Apparently, Spotify. Do you have Spotify like premium?
No.
No, me neither. When I have people over for the sex stuff, I play Spotify. We get interrupted with ads, and when you're going down on someone, they don't really want to hear about like what type of car insurance to get. Apparently,
Yeah.
but on Spotify,
Some people do.
That's a very specific kink. I don't even think Hot Movies has. But, on Spotify Premium, on your phone, there's now an option to share the podcast that you're listening to in your Instagram stories. And I would love to see some people sharing the Man Whore podcast on their Insta stories. Tag me at the Billy Persida. That would really mean a lot to me and help get the word out about the show. Really cool little feature. You can just say like, oh, I'm really digging this live show episode. And you can do all the fun. You can put like a crying gif that represents me crying because I'm getting destroyed by 3 of my exes. So again, do that thing. Tag me in it so I can see it. And Jamie, thank you so much for co-hosting our intro.
Thank you. It was super fun.
You definitely added to it. It's very nice of you, because otherwise it's just me by myself.
Aw.
Which some people can get bored of. One more time, where can people go if they're interested in the V Club? Maybe want to take a class, they want to follow it on social media. Where do they go?
Yeah, go to our website. It's www.thevclub.com, and that's V as in whatever you want it to be.
Vagina.
Could be vulnerable, could be victory. There's
The Victory Club.
Yeah, there's lots of options, but the V Club, yeah.
Fantastic. And now for this week's guest, Chemda. Chemda from Keith and the Girl. She's the other half of Keith and the Girl. A couple years ago, had on Keith Malley, her co-host. We had a really great, vulnerable conversation that I really enjoyed. I really hope you do too. This one's like one of those ones where we get real, we get honest, and we share some giggles in between. Let's go ahead and get to my conversation with Chemda from Keith. Yes, I do every time. I have to emphasize the Chemda from Keith and the Girl. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and now we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See with you in the producer booth, in a way, I can't do any of that sly like, oh, just some conversation. And I slowly hit the record button, and 5 minutes later, like, are we recording? And it's like, yeah, we were recording the whole time. Can't do it. I just have to jump straight in and say like, hey, I'm here right now with Chemda.
Hello.
From the Keith and the Girl podcast, which I'm sure many of you listen to.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I had your partner Keith on a couple years ago. I think we talked about like horse fucking.
That's great.
It's not the most intimate conversation I've had.
It usually devolves into something like that. Yeah.
But I wanted to have you on as well because
you.
I've known you a long time, and it was interesting because when you asked me earlier, like, hey, what did you want to talk about? I was like, I've actually not had like one-on-one conversations with you terribly much that weren't on like with a big group.
I think we've had some good conversation via text.
Yeah.
Some informative conversation. I think we've had great conversation on my show.
You were one of the best you might have been the best call out that I've ever received from like someone who I perceive as a friend, and it made me more receptive to listen. Do you remember when I did I think it was called Bottoms Up?
Yeah.
With you and Henny? And
yeah.
I told that story with the trans woman.
Yeah.
And you both of you stopped me in my tracks and then reoriented my entire view of like Craigslist gender modifiers. I'm like, Oh, you're so right. No wonder queer sex positive audiences like don't enjoy this story. No wonder this story kills them like in a Midwest, crowd of people who don't get it. And I always found that very both compassionate but like firm. And I wish more call outs were like that.
That's cool. I feel like I've learned how to call out, but I also sometimes do it very aggressively. And I've been practicing more compassion with it because it's like you said, okay, so the trans thing, I've been immersed in it. So I have to.
Is that what you call dating a trans man? Is like being immersed?
Yeah. Because you know what happens is whoever you're dating, you learn so much about their topics. So one of our major topics was that he was trans. So it's like all of a sudden you have this crash course in trans stuff. And even though the world is having that crash course, you're having a way more intimate, way more thorough crash course. So you have to keep that in mind when someone says something that's, let's call it fucked up. You kind of have to go, wait, I have so much information because I've been immersed in this, because it's part of my life. It's part of my day to day that I've studied it without realizing it. So this person saying an ignorant statement would have been me if I didn't, really get involved in this as much as I was sort of, for lack of a better word, forced to.
Yeah, like we don't all get to date trans people. Some of us just get one very quiet blowjob in a pub, subway stairwell by one and exchange 0 words. So
yeah, but then we put them in this other category. Here's a trans person. Now we got to learn about this human can be inhumane. So I don't know. It's like a weird level of sensitivity that has to have compassion for ignorance and I don't mean ignorance in a bad way. Of course, nobody wants to be ignorant. I don't
Ignorance
think.
is simply just not knowing.
Yeah,
which isn't bad to not know a thing. It's like,
but you can have bad ignorance, I think.
Yeah,
where it's just you're blocking it out. Several people have told you, you refuse to adjust. You don't even want to know about it. Like a lot of past generations have that. What are these new words? Well, it's the same thing that's happening. We finally found a way to express it in shorthand. Let's get to know it.
It's like me with demisexuals. Yeah.
What is demisexual?
Oh, allow me to educate you. Hello. Demis.
I always learn a new word around you.
Demis are on. Okay, apparently they're on the asexual spectrum, which I don't believe as a spectrum because like asexuality is like just the end point of, in my view, like sexual desire or libido or whatever. So it's just it makes sense. It's the absence of sexual attraction.
So you're saying there can only be one absence. There can't be levels of absence. Is that?
I don't think so. I think it's a thing like it is or is not. And then the rest of it is just like you might be very, 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 very not sexually into whatever, like attracted to people, but then sometimes you are. Well, then great. You're sexually attracted to people, just very rarely. Demisexuals experience sexual attraction only when they have an emotional attachment first, which that's
what demisexual is.
Yeah, everything before 1960. Like that's just what people were. That's just how people operate. A lot of people operated, and I
don't think that's how they operated. I think they were faking the funk.
But I think there's others who did, and I think it's like if casual sex wasn't as prominent or accepted as it is today, I don't think the phrase demisexual would even be necessary. But also, I have learned, more importantly, to not give a shit. So it's like, fine, call yourself what you want. There we go.
Right. I think people are just trying to clarify. What's funny is everybody wants you to be in a box. Like, what are you? Are you gay? Are you straight or whatever? And then once we find words to something, they're like, why do we have to call it a word? But you keep asking me what I am, so I'm trying to find the word.
Yeah. Well, I tried to ask you, like, how do you identify? And you were like, I don't know.
I don't know. And I think it's actually a very sensitive subject for me right now in terms of like, how could one not know? That makes me feel a little bit awkward, but also makes me feel like, oh, that's the thing that I maybe have to explore a little bit. So I thought I was bisexual in my early 20s because I was very open to experiences, but the queer experiences that I had, like if I would make out with a woman or maybe sleep with her or whatever, I always felt like, this doesn't really match. I'm not really, it felt queer and not gay, lesbian, queer. It
queer,
felt
like odd.
Like odd, yeah. And then I thought, And then I started dating my husband. This was 9 years ago. And at the time,
9 years ago?
9 years ago.
And back then, like
there was no trans.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the thing. He never identified as a lesbian, but didn't make a big deal out of it. He just always expressed that he felt uncomfortable being called a lesbian. He didn't feel like he fit in with lesbians, but he was female presenting, sleeping with women and dating women.
And I met him like right before he really started, at least in what I saw, morphing his like presentation. Still had the long hair and all that stuff before he got all jacked, got a mohawk.
See, for me, he was always jacked, which I really liked. Yeah. I don't like jacked, but I very much like the physical, whatever that he was in. But when we first started sleeping with each other, man, okay. So the first time we slept with each other, I was blown away. I was like, what's this? This was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. Like, it was as if he was reading my mind. Like, everything melted. I like gasped over, like, whoa, like, what's happening?
He knows
yeah.
things.
Yeah. And I thought I was being subtle, but then he called me out. Like, when we got a little more comfortable, he's like, yeah, when I don't remember what the things were, but it was like, when I flipped you over or something like that, you gasped like, "Oh, all right, cool."
I love that gasp when you do something
it.
that they don't like someone doesn't expect. So like if like flipping a chick over like without saying turn over, but you just
and that's
physically
exactly what I
take
wanted
and turn them over.
Yeah, where it's like things with us would happen where I'd be like, "Oh, you know what I want now? Let's say I want to be flipped over," and as if he was reading my mind. Right when I finished that sentence in my head, I was flipped over. So this was very confusing to me because, he was assigned female at birth. So these are the parts that I thought I wasn't really interested in. And we were having a great time physically, emotionally, like all this stuff was going so well. But I felt that I needed to warn him like, hey, look, I'm not really into chicks. Like normally I get like fired up about women maybe. And then I feel like maybe it wasn't my feeling. Like, I don't know. I've been attracted to women and then it just kind of fizzles out. So I didn't really understand it. So I just thought I would prepare him. Like, look, usually this usually doesn't even get to this point. I usually don't even like it. So this might have to end. I don't know. I don't know what's happening, and to be honest, a lot of, queer people are used to it, especially in the female community, from what I understand, because females are more, apt to try it on, So a lot of lesbians get the bi-curious people and then they get fucked on it, which is bad.
And some don't even, and which leads some from the stories I'm told that won't even date bi girls because they don't believe that they're actually bi.
Right, which sucks, but also you gotta understand that like they're kind of being messed with a lot. Like, oh, I'm just bi, and it's like really you just got heartbroken by a guy. You feel safer with a woman. I didn't want to project that. He understood that because he's been in the lesbian community, so he's probably the one who taught me that.
It's preventative action that lesbians takes in the way that like I won't date like women under 25.
Sure.
Because I'm just like, all of them don't work out.
Well, sure. Like we all have some kind of rule and I get it, but we just kind of kept going. We sort of agreed that, hey, we're having fun now. So whatever. And then this is very shortly in, and again, this was before Caitlyn Jenner came out. This was when trans people were like chicks with dicks and like streetwalkers and the worst kind. It was Maury Povich or whatever bullshit would have like, guess who the real woman is, So it was trans was very freak, very like underground, gross,
The movement had yet to begun.
Yeah, and so I didn't even know what transgender was. So one day, this is like maybe a couple months, maybe into our relationship, into our messing around. We just had sex. So we're like, in the throes. And I say, I need to say something. You don't feel like a woman to me. You don't feel like a woman. You don't fuck like a woman. I don't feel like I'm with a woman. And then he starts crying and I'm like, oh my God, that's right. Cause I just say shit because I'm so used to, saying taboo stuff.
That could have gone a different way.
Absolutely. And then so he starts crying and I'm like, I'm so sorry. That was so insensitive. I'm just, it's such a vulnerable position. We just finished having sex and I'm telling you who you are and what you feel like and what your body is kind of, you know what I mean? And he goes, no, I'm crying because you see me. And he didn't understand what that was. And so what happened was he went to a mutual friend of ours and expressed this, like, this is what happened. I connect with this, but I don't know why, and she happened to go to Sarah Lawrence. So she had a lot of gender study classes. Yeah.
It's like, I have a whole syllabus
That's
just
right,
on this.
That's right. That's so funny that you said, because she handed him a book and she's like, you are describing a transgender man. Here is a book called Becoming a Visible Man. And he started reading that and identified with like he was highlighting things for me, like, wow, this is me, this is me, this is me, and then all of a sudden, and then he came out on Keith and the Girl, which was scary because
exclusive.
Once you know stuff, you just start like your whole thing starts shifting. So you can't cover it up anymore. Your closet starts opening, So you had to get out of this next closet. He came out on the show. All of a sudden, what's really weird is the collective unconscious started becoming conscious. A lot of people started coming out. What happened when he came out, he was one of the few ones that were coming out. We were public figures and we were openly talking about stuff that people weren't talking about. So BuzzFeed did a thing about us called I'm a Guy. That came out, started getting like hundreds of thousands and then millions of views. Last time I checked, it was over 4 million. And I was like, yes, okay, now we don't have to explain to people, by the way, this is what's happening. Now it's out there. Now people know how to address us. But what I didn't really fully notice is I was relieved and he got sick. This, I forget that this is, as much as it's about me because we deal with a lot of things together because we are together, this is him coming out of another closet. And he was like sick that whole day, just as soon as it came out and we saw like every time we refreshed, another 1,000 people watched it. He went to the bathroom and shit a brick, like physically he was in the bathroom like for the whole day because all of a sudden this is happening all at once. The thing that you were hiding about for your entire life, now you're a young adult and you have to deal with what's going to be people's response to me all at once. You can no longer decide when you're coming out or who you're coming out to. It's now going to come at you. So I can't really speak to his experience other than I know it was way more intense than me. And that was a very hard thing to go through and to continue to go through.
Did you have to totally start researching, reading, learning about trans and trans issues? I mean,
well, I was the thing is I was in a trans relationship, but I'm not trans. So I think that my side of it would more compare to people who are with trans people. So I was just getting all the information because now that this closet was open, information was coming in. He was researching, so I would get it all the time.
So you're just getting everything second, it was naturally coming through. You didn't feel like you had to go look stuff up because he was coming through and be like, I'm learning stuff and I'm going to tell you what I learned.
Yeah,
today.
He naturally told me. What we did end up doing was going to something at the LGBT Center. It happened to be at the same time. There was a group meeting for trans guys and a group meeting for the people who are in a relationship with trans people. So then I could relate to those people. I can't relate to trans people just like if I was dating someone outside of my race. Yeah, sure, I could learn about the race, but it's not going to be me, They are dealing with it way more than me.
Sure. And how did you used the phrase you fuck like you don't fuck like a woman. So what's that mean to you to fuck like a woman or to fuck like a man?
I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's one of the hard things. So now, we've been together. Turns out the only quote female that I was attracted to and had a relationship with for real is a dude. So what does that make me? You know what I mean? Experimental, but heterosexual? Or then I started thinking, okay, but the women that I was with, it didn't feel right. But there were a lot of guys that I was with that didn't feel right either. But because of the whole heteronormative thing, I would be like, oh, that's a bad night of sex. But when I had a bad...
Also, us cis guys do suck pretty hard.
Oh my God, I'm sorry to tell you that that's so true.
It's okay. I apologize on behalf of the Federation. It's,
Thank you for that. And it sucks because I'm way into having sex with guys, but a lot of times it's disappointing. So when it was disappointing with women, I think because of what we learned and it just seeped in, you know, and we're not homophobic, but we are. We always are, right? So it was when I had a not good hookup with a woman, I would dismiss the entire sex.
it's all the women then.
Like, oh, maybe I'm not into this,
Yeah.
you know? So I don't know. So
This is slowly starting to feel like, yeah, Billy, like try sucking a dick. If that wasn't good, you got to suck at least 100 to know if you're into this. I'll be like, oh, this feels like a trap.
Right. But the inclination to suck a dick has to mean something, right? I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know because I feel like we're so much more brainwashed than we actually know. Like you might actually suck a dick even though you're like zero gay. Just because if there was no stigma on it, I swear to God, they all taste the same. I don't know how to tell you that. I swear to God.
I do believe that. I do believe like more dudes would be sucking the occasional cock if there wasn't stigma attached to like, well, you sucked a dick and now you're gay.
Yeah. Period. End of story. Why did you even go there? You know, all that shit.
I was in a gangbang once, which is how most of my stories start. I was in a gangbang with this couple, like I introduced to through
What
like
constitutes a gangbang? That everybody could fuck everybody?
no. I'll say receiver because guys can get gangbang, pussy average can get gangbang, penis average. Anyone can get gangbang. So we're gonna say the receiver. There's what is fairly agreed
you're
upon
all in
as
one.
a receiver receiving lots of penetration.
Okay.
Because you know some women can strap one on and join in on the gangbang, right?
Okay.
So there's this couple, and he identifies completely as straight. You would never think he's anything but straight. She's really into dudes blowing each other. Like she's really into male play. So he's not interested in men. But during the gangbang, I watched him. He grabbed this one dude's dick, one guy who had already identified himself as being bi. And so he had grabbed the dick and said, hey, honey. And once he had her attention, he put the dick in his mouth in the most performative, almost like corny, like,
Like almost miming it.
no, yeah, but like he like straight up like just bobbed his head on this dick for like, I don't know, like 20, 30 seconds. Really just like, and he's just because it's performative for his wife, which we never think about that swap because what is it always? Women hooking up with women in front of men for men. He's sucking a dick for her. And I was like, that dude loves his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that for sure. And I think that's why women are more confused because it's like, well, it was hot when I was with a woman, but it was because there was another guy in the room, but it was hot anyway. And I did do it. And it's like, well, we're allowed to do that. And we're allowed to, and it's extra hot when we do it. So I almost feel bad for guys.
Well, because then there's the whole mind fuck of like, and that's why, when people ask me about like if I would, male prostitution, I say like I would charge more to receive. I'm sorry, I would charge more to fuck a dude or to get blown by a dude because, if I was getting fucked or blowing someone, I can just like do whatever I have to do in my head and be like I'm just doing a job. But the other one, it's like I have to achieve an erection and then come and then I have to deal with the aftermath afterwards because I have to be
energy.
Like, am I queer now? Am I not? What was that for? It's like,
yeah. So I'm hoping that, with the new generation calling themselves, by non-binary pronouns and kind of getting rid of that, I'm hoping that we give people more permission to do that stuff and really find out what sexuality is because I don't think we know. And in fact, I actually think gay people know more than straight people.
Definitely.
Because they had to opt in so fucking hard that they already did the math.
They've already done the fake fucking. They've fucked. No, but they've fucked the woman just to be, they've
Not
had,
always, but
they've had the 3 kids with the beard to, for presentation, even though like they're imagining somebody else.
Well, they certainly have more opportunity to choose that because it gets chosen for them. So in order for them to really come out of the closet, they did a bunch of math in their head. They had to go through our stupid fucking filter and get to, you know what? I thought about it. I was presented with it. I might have even tried it, but no.
If anything, they like, you know, gay people have proven that you can do an act that's not how you identify, and it doesn't change who you are.
Right.
The gay guy who has a beard and has 3 kids, so he definitely had sex with this woman multiple occasions, and that doesn't change the fact that he's super gay.
Right.
And when he, you know, so
he
I was
just
like,
found the energy to be able to fake it that hard.
so dudes, you can go suck a dick and you're not gay unless you liked it, and then maybe a little bit gay.
See, but like the act of blowing someone, that's so fun. You know what I mean?
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand
There's a lot of women who fight against doing that.
Because it's a lot of work.
A lot of work. Okay.
Sure. But it's, you know, but I think, you know, vaginas are more work than dicks, but aren't you excited to do that?
If it's a pleasant situation down there, I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work. And I think women would maybe like blowjobs more if guys were more careful about making sure that they're taken care of. I think that people don't mind doing the work if they know that the reward is coming for them also. But it's a lot of one-sidedness with guys, especially because they think that the penis is the end all, you know? So when I'm done,
this all leads to coming out of my dick, right? That's how this ends.
Yeah.
It's why like I make a point to like when I come, unless it seems like we're at a natural conclusion, I try to continue it. Like I start fingering or I start going down. I want to make a point that like just because I came doesn't mean this entire sex session is done until I'm hard again.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of straight guys will say, how do you know when you're done having sex? And I'm like, wow, I really don't want to sleep with you because you know when you come that the entirety of sex is over. But if I sleep with someone else who knows when sex is done, when everybody's done, whoever that everybody is, both partners, 3 partners, whatever, then I'm into sleeping with you. But that's such a sign now that I know about stuff that if you go, well, how do you know when sex is done if, you know, there's not a dick? I'm like, okay, I see the kind of sex that you're having. Yeah. You're done when you're done. That's interesting. That's not great. Fun. Great for me.
So what did that, when you're, are y'all still husband and wife?
We separated three months ago.
But still technically, so I should refer to him as a husband, right? Or
no, it's my ex.
You want to say, okay.
I think it's paperwork, and you know, to me, paperwork is just whatever.
That's fine.
But we're broken up.
Yeah.
So it's over.
So when your ex came out as trans, like, what did that do for how you felt about your orientation and desire and sexuality?
To me, it made sense. To me, I was like, oh.
So that more solidified it.
Yeah, to me, I was like, right, because I'm straight. And now this makes sense. It feels straight. I felt straight in the relationship. Now that we're broken up, I'm like, what am I now? You know, I have to. So
there was more clarity from that. And then before and after the relationship, it's actually more confusing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because like for me, so my most recent ex is genderqueer and uses they, them pronouns. And when they came out to me as that, because when I met them, they identified as a bi chick. And, you know, it wasn't like a whole big, oh, what am I going to do? But there's definitely more confusion than had happened 5 minutes before the conversation. Like I knew that, you know, they had some like male energy. And I was like, fine. Like I would be like, oh, you know, sometimes I would say things like, oh, I see your boyness and your girlness or whatever I had said. But like there was definitely some confusion, and there was a conversation about like, okay, these are the pronouns I would like, and then I was like, do I still refer to your pussy as a pussy? And then
that's a good question.
Yeah, we had all those, but then there were the things about like, because my sexuality matters too, and so I had, you know, we had some conversations about like, how do I address you? Like, I don't like using the phrase partner, really don't. Just irks me, makes me uncomfortable. Also, the concept of a girlfriend is something that's been built up so much for me, especially with my personal history. Right. That I was like, I'd like to still be the one request, and I may be rewriting history by forgetting something, but I really think that my main request was I wanted to still refer to them as a girlfriend. And that everything, but that I'm still use the pronouns. And if someone's like, what do you mean they? I'm going to tell them, like, I am not going to hide who you are. But that's, you know, that was the one thing for me.
That's a tough one to request after somebody asks for gender neutral pronouns. So what'd they respond with?
They acquiesced. Like that was. I mean, like I said, I think that was the one thing I asked for, and that I do so much affirming of them and seeing them, and really basically everything else. That I was like, this is the one thing I need for my sexuality, is to still see myself as like that. Just is going to make me a lot more comfortable.
Well, I think I understand that. See if this is a comparison because I'm not sure. So once we, he was identified and came out and all that stuff, what was, I'm not going to say hard, but what was tricky is I'm saying husband and I'm having a queer experience. Right. As far as the world is concerned, when we're out, we have to deal with queerness. We have to deal with people saying like, hey, ladies, come over here.
Especially in the early stages of the relationship before he looked the way he does now.
Yeah, he presented female as far as our society is concerned. So I was in a queer relationship saying husband as a female. Mm-hmm. And so I felt a little outside of the queer community while needing to deal with a lot of the stuff that they were dealing with. So that was painful for me because I think it helps to be inside of that. And I don't, so there are places where I'll be where I can see that the queers are, kind of going like nodding to each other and I'm outside of that. You know what I mean? And so it's now that we're broken up, this is maybe strange for some people, but it has been very helpful for me to talk to a couple of lesbians who like fully identify as lesbians, happen to make friends with them. And I started asking them, here's what I'm feeling. I don't want to mess with women. I know what people think about pansexual or bisexual or whatever, but I find myself attracted to women. I'm not sure if that'll be over as soon as I start kissing them. So I don't know if I'm going to be like intruding or messing with people. I can't tell what I am. Mm-hmm. And they were so gentle with me that I felt so good. And I felt like, oh, at least I can talk about it. They basically just said, your sexuality is your sexuality. Here's what I tried. Here's the connection that I made. And it was so helpful that, even if I never, do anything queer again, it was just like, oh, I can be me. I don't know why, I fully give myself permission on a daily basis to be me without societal influence.
But there's a difference between giving yourself permission and having others really, it sounds like you need somebody to, like queer to like give you like almost that permission.
Yeah, like can I be in your club?
Validation. Yeah.
Or am I just trying to appropriate your culture somehow or your subculture? But I feel like I want to be in a little bit. Can I be in a little bit? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I all go? Can I go to Cubbyhole? Is that okay?
Yeah. Like, am I a poser? Am I just trying to, or am I heartbroken and just want to put sexuality on everything? So maybe that's why this feeling is amped. And that's why I'm taking a year off sex because I can't
that's
tell.
What the celibacy is like. There's a definitive, like a year.
Yes. And not only no sex, I don't want to flirt with anyone. I don't want to put out there. I want to know why I feel sexually towards people because sometimes I think it's just part of my manic state. Like it's a very quick validation. Oh, you're attracted to me. I did that to you. You know what I mean? I
totally know.
Yeah. So I want to stop myself from doing that to see who I'm attracted to and why and to like be with myself for a minute, which has been okay. The hard part is not getting the validation. The hard part is not even knowing if I'm hot. You know what I mean? Not even knowing if it's been 9 years. So
monogamous or?
Yeah, we've been monogamous for 9 years. So I don't even know if people are attracted to me. Right. Like I haven't been paying attention to that at all. I don't know if anyone would hit on me and I can't get the validation.
No one else has hit on me since like Obama won.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's like, I remember the party, and then that was last time.
Yeah,
that's wild. I'm such a flirt. I love it.
It's so fun.
But it's like it gets complicated. Like during when I did your Keith and the girl we recorded before this, y'all had asked like how I would turn down like a listener who maybe was into me, and it's like that's kind of why I've had to like look at my boundaries and how I interact with my fans because my first few years or couple years of the show, I was like, yeah, flirty. Because one, I was like, oh, this show, I don't know what the show's going to become. But the other part
it's an easy way to be charismatic if you think about it. You just put sex on it and then you kind of have like a way,
But I'm also very good at just like my thumbs are very, very good at the flirting.
Are you talking dirty to me right now?
Right, but it's like I've flirted with people on the internet, and then I never thought, I'm not going to meet these people, and now I'm starting to meet these listeners in person, and it becomes a very different thing.
Yeah.
When you're like flirty on like, whether it's like Kik or Instagram or whatever, or emails, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this person now thinks that we're gonna fuck when we're in person,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things that, as I'm talking about my sexuality to people, one of the women were like, hey, you could just want to kiss someone. I was like, wow, I never thought of that. I always think that kissing leads to sex. Maybe I do just want to kiss this woman. Like, maybe I just want to flirt with her. So,
And that's okay. By the way. Like,
I didn't even, it's so crazy that it didn't occur to me.
You're allowed to just make out with people.
It would just, wow. My mind is blown. This is why I want to be celibate for a year, so I can put all the options on the table, take a look at them with a reasonable brain and go, oh, maybe I like flirting when I feel safe that, I won't have to make out with you. Like, you understand where I'm coming from. I really am just being your friend, but we happen to be friends that flirt. Yeah. I want to see if I can do that.
Well, if they're actual friends, I'm sure that could definitely confuse things. Like, I feel like if it was someone I was actually friends with and not just like a flirt friend, I'd at some point need the explicit, hey, like, this is, by the way, the thing, like, we're flirting and here's my intentions. But when you say what stood out was like, I want to be able to flirt with someone and know that I don't have to make out with them. Likewise, it's like, it's nice to be able to make out with someone and know you don't have to take it further.
Yeah.
Or you can go home with someone and you don't have to go, or you can blow someone and it doesn't mean you have to fuck them, right? And I think that part of it sounds great, but what I especially find, and maybe this is more of a male turning down women experience, because maybe this doesn't replicate itself the other way around, but it's like, when you tell someone that like you only want to make, like when you're making out with someone and they want more, and you tell them, oh, I want to make out with, because there's people I want to make out with who I don't want to go down on. There's people I want to go down on, but I don't want to fuck. I like going down on a lot of people. Like, that's just a fun activity. But they take it as an insult. That a lot of times people have taken it as an insult. They're like, wait, you don't want to fuck me? Because it's as if it's like, it's okay. Like, if I said, oh, I don't want to fuck you tonight, that's okay. But if it's like, I really like making out with you, but I don't know that I want to like fuck you, that gets taken as an affront. Like, wait, you don't want to fuck me?
Yeah.
And it becomes like a thing.
Yeah, I have, as a female, I have felt that. And like, I regret feeling that, because we've been taught that if you put your sexuality on a guy who's half interested in you, he's going to want to fuck you. It's going to happen. Right. So when it doesn't happen, it kind of blows your mind. Like, you obviously are attracted to me. Why don't you want to go? And so you rarely hear about that, because you always hear about like, men in that position.
Apparently I'm supposed to want to fuck anyone who says yes, and I missed the memo.
Well, because to be frank, that's what it feels like around men. And that's why it's more, I feel more nervous being around them, because even if I'm just friendly, they think I'm flirting. Even if I'm just, it's like everything leads to sex with men. So when it doesn't, it's confusing.
It's like, what is it about me? And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm trying to like change the paradigm of like people having sex with each other.
Sure. Yeah. So you're on the front of that, and that's what makes it hard. Like this is new for men to express that kind of stuff. It's new for women. It's new for us, and it's been creating these like boundaries that have existed that we just need to look at, because it feels very black and white. Like, fuck you, you crossed the line. Fuck you, you did this. And it's just like, hold on, why are we doing this to each other? What in my brain makes me feel like you need to have sex with me right now?
Right. And now it seems like you're now, you realize like the options are out there for, you can just make out with someone. You could just finger someone. You could just flirt with someone.
Well, we'll see. Because have I,
not yet,
practice,
but like,
it's going to be hard.
It seems like you now know that these are out there. And,
weird, right?
In 9 months, you'll get to find out. I don't know how you're doing a year without sex. I've done 5 days without carbs and I'm dying.
I know.
So
I've never done this. This is the longest time I've been without sex. Ever since I started having sex.
Which was how old?
Having sex. 18.
18, and you've just been having.
Yeah.
What was like the longest dry spell?
Nothing. There was
nothing.
There was no dry spell. No. One time.
Talk about dry spell.
I don't know. Maybe a week, but
Well, maybe a week. Oh my gosh. I think the longest I went was a month, and that was this year. And then that,
Yeah,
but
no.
that drove me stir crazy.
But I also, I was in a serial monogamy,
Sure.
and then when I'm not monogamous, I usually date like 2 or 3 people because I just feel like I like the different personalities until one clicks in a way where it's like, oh, this is going to fulfill me if we stop seeing other people. But I think, and this is, I don't want to declare anything because I'm only 3 months outside of a very long relationship that I was very brokenhearted about. I would love to never be monogamous again, but I don't want to say that because I'm in a state right now.
Yeah.
But ideally, what sounds really super fucking good to me is dating 3 people generally. Maybe one's out of town. Maybe one's like, in the same borough. Maybe one is like just far
Well, you
away.
need one in the same borough. It is rough. Even Upper West Side to Brooklyn. Jesus, is that rough.
Yeah, like I would love it if I could be friends with people. And there are friends who you smoke weed with. There are friends who you go to the movies with, friends you brunch with.
And there's friends you fuck.
Honestly, that's what I want. I want to have like, maybe a person who I do, and I never go to the movies, but let's call it like I go to the movies with them. And also we happen to have this connection of fucking. There are people who I only have intellectual conversations with. There are people who I only have silly, stupid conversations with. If there's also sex there, I don't want to put sex on it. I want us to have that, but also be able to talk about things. I also want to be able to talk with people about my other partners like they're friends. Like there's nothing to be concerned with. It's like I'm I hung out with so-and-so. Like, don't worry if our, genitalia were exposed to each other. This is a person who loves me, not in love with me, not marries me, just the way I love you, like we have love for each other. I don't feel a sexual vibe, but if, but if I did,
I feel affronted.
Wouldn't it be lovely if we can do this and then like afterwards, hey, you want to fuck also? And it's like, oh man, I have this show, so I can't. All right, next time,
Yeah, those people are great. They exist. They're awesome. I have people like that. I've had people like that. Those are wonderful relationships to have.
But it's still a relationship that you have to maintain, and just like friendship. Friendship takes a lot.
Absolutely. So the sex with your ex was apparently off the chain.
Ugh, best.
Is that? Are you worried that might set a new bar? That's
Yes.
Have you haven't done anything with anyone since the breakup, right?
Nothing.
So, 9 months from now, once you start easing back in, is that like maybe a concern?
It's not a concern. It's a thought, and I'm happy about it. I think that should be the bar. I think all he did was pay attention. All we did was pay attention.
There wasn't like a move.
It's not tricks. I mean, he definitely, studied it in his own way because he likes sex and he likes to please and he understands how a female body works.
She's making a fist, by the way, as she says all this. I'm like, I think I know what happened.
I never got fisted. Actually, no. I to be completely open, that's gonna take a minute. I'm so fucking tight.
Yeah, that's okay to say.
Yeah, like fisting would be way far. Like 3 fingers is.
But once you get the 3 fingers, I mean, I feel like anytime I've gotten to 3 fingers, I feel like fisting is around the corner. At least in my experience. Like I don't expect to fist anybody. I've never gone to someone and be like, hey, so like we're gonna do fisting tonight, right? Yeah, let's do that. Never has happened. Every fisting I've done has been totally by surprise.
That's the same with me in butt stuff. So I imagine, sure. Like I'm not closed up.
Whose butt?
My butt.
Your butt.
Well, their butt too.
Okay.
And it's just, to me, it's like that. It's like butt stuff happens where it's like, what else can we do? Like we're so satiating and satisfying each other that like, oh shit, there's a finger in my butt. Like there's just part of it, and it definitely consensual, of course, but.
Butt stuff I actually prefer to semi have that inclination or understanding or some hint of it. Because I like to prep or like, no, I don't know. I want to eat half decent for 6 hours. I did for the first time ever last week during that stranger place scene I told you all about. I douched, enemaed, whatever. I'd never done that. I bought, I was freaking out because she really wanted to do butt stuff. And I was like, I really want to be emptied out for her. And because she might lick it, because she said she might lick it. And that's always the ultimate.
I've never done that.
Oh, it is just.
Either way, I've never done
it. Amazing.
I can't even imagine that it's that good.
It feels
wow.
the balls.
Wow.
It's great. I almost it's like blowjobs are great, but I've gotten some rim jobs I've gotten have been better than some blowjobs I've gotten.
Shut up.
Blowjobs are still ranking, but some have, it's like when they talk about like, hey, could the best college team beat the worst NFL team? It's a little like that where there's some overlap. So I went and I was freaking out because I didn't have, because they sell real enema things that you should use for anal sex. Like you go to Anatomy Eve, you go to beyourlover.com, you use the promo code manwhore, right?
There you go.
And
you should.
Yeah. I was like, as I'm recording this now, I'm like, I don't have my sheet in front of me to say who the sponsor was for this week. But they have actual ones for that. But then some of us have to do it improvised. And I just went to the dollar store and I found a turkey baster, bought it. And then I just went and
a turkey baster.
Yeah. And I Googled how do I do this? And I just spent a good 20 minutes just sticking this thing in my ass, squeezing a bulb, sitting down, shitting out, basically piss and water out my ass.
Wow.
Until it seemed like I was emptied.
Question, why didn't you buy an enema?
I'm never a good preparer.
I see. Okay.
I'm not also very poor. If anyone wants to buy me an enema bulb, I'll happily take it.
I have a couple of extra ones in the house.
Oh no. so actually I don't like throwing severe butt stuff in willy-nilly because I
get that. I'm very proud of you and I'm sure people appreciate it. I'm like, hey, you went for it, so you got to understand what's happening, and I've gone for it also understanding what's happening.
Okay, let's pause real quick because I just talked about, you could buy me an enema, and that's true. When you go to beyourlover.com, beyourlover.com is a worldwide recognized brand of innovative adult sex toy products that has won all sorts of international awards. I'm not going to take time to go and list all of them for you. Just know that they're online and you can buy some fun stuff to put inside you. And they're offering special deals to my listeners. They initially were like, yo, we'll give you 10% off with promo code manwhore. And then I was all like, yo, fan whores deserve better. Can you go higher? I negotiated them up to 20% off any item at beyourlover.com when you use the promo code manwhore. And they got all this stuff, right? They got they got masturbation sleeves, they got cock rings, dildos, vibrators, and yes, they have some anal douches. If you want to buy Billy an anal douche, do so when you go to beyourlover.com using promo code manwhore. If you've been meaning to go sex toy shopping recently, now's the time. Take advantage of this very special offer for my fan whores. 20% off any one item when you use promo code manwhore at beyourlover.com. One more time, that's BBE your YOUR lover. I know you can spell that one. beyourlover.com. Promo code manwhore. Get yourself something nice. And now let's get back to the show.
I like a good finger condom.
Condom?
Okay. Well, we were once we had, with me and my husband, we had butt stuff at a sex party. So there were finger condoms.
I forgot
everywhere.
y'all have been to sex parties?
Just a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah. And we weren't with anybody else. Sure. We had rules to just be with each other. But it was really nice. That experience is lovely because it was very bonding, and also we're very highly sexually charged. And this was a great way to amp it up without including stuff that would make us feel uncomfortable.
It's just fun to imagine you being so, as you described, highly sexually charged, because I've never seen you very active. We've never played kickball, So I'm just it seems like all the energy just comes out in the bedroom because most time we are together, you're sitting.
Yeah. And that's really funny because outside of this, I bike to work every day. I'm very energetic. I'm always up, late, wake up early. I've been, in high school, I was called the Energizer Bunny.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
I
danced for hours when I go to clubs. I would wait until the club shut down. So just dancing until it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so what was important about the experience of, I guess, fucking in public?
I like being watched.
Okay.
I really like that. I like the energy of other people having sex around me. I like that everyone's there for sex, that the sex is amped. The energy was close, and we weren't comfortable being with other people.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
But it was really nice. The first time we went, we were like, hey, if we at all, because it's, it costs money to get in and we're not rich, but we had to dismiss the money. Like, no matter what we're paying here, if 5 seconds into this, either one of us feels uncomfortable, but the other one still wants to stay, we're leaving. And no one's going to feel bad. And that was great.
You have to have that. You have to, if you're going as a couple, you have to have that we can leave whenever you want and we're not going to be pissy.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to say that, but you also have to act on it. And I've been asked, like, I think I asked once, hey, can we leave early? And I've been asked, like, hey, I'd really like to go.
Yeah.
And you have to genuinely be okay with that because...
Get over it really quick because that's not fair to this other person.
Yeah, because you built up a promise and said it's going to be safe to say I want to go. And then if you're not, like, that's a trust issue.
Yeah, that would make me really uncomfortable.
I'm glad to hear that y'all, like, had, like, a talk before about the expectations and rules and whatnot.
Yeah, and just, I don't, to me also, if we're just going to be with each other, I think we had a rule of like, don't even mess with someone else. We're really just here to be watched. Like, don't be flirting with somebody. Don't engage, because that's going to make us feel unsafe. Just how we felt about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really nice.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've for as long as I've known you, you've been in this relationship.
Yeah.
So, it's just a new decade.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Before this, I was never on apps. I'd never dated internetly.
Well, you and your co-host Keith, the both of y'all have been having to readjust to like this whole internet thing because like he got divorced. That was like last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
and he was on apps and I like to live vicariously. I always so my friends, even while I was married, they're like, "You want to swipe for me?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah. I mean, if you want to live live someone's sex life vicariously, like, look, I am probably one of the top candidates to live through. What I mean, so like, okay, it sounds like there was good communication. The sex is off the chain. You shared probably one of the more intimate moments of his life in the coming out and the realization and seeing him.
This is big. I mean, I'm still like, as you're talking, I can start crying because it was a lot and it still is a lot. So I'm still processing.
I mean, what
he became unreliable to me, and that made me feel not safe to be in a relationship. There's, we were very intimate. So it's like, I count on you for this, that, and the next. And the promises weren't fulfilled to a place where it was detrimental to my living.
But we're not talking about like, doing the dishes.
No, we're not. But we're talking about just a level of, I can't rely on you. I can't rely on you to use money like you said you would. I can't rely on you to communicate with people like you said you would. I can't rely on you to, it's just, you're making promises and you're not following through, and it's not for a month or two, it's for a long time now. And so we were trying to work through that, and it's like, okay, let's implement this in place. If you feel like you're slipping, call this person or go to this meeting or, figure it out. But this is going to break us up. And it just didn't happen.
It sounds like it did.
Well, the reliability didn't come through. So yeah.
Well, I meant that it did break y'all up.
It did, yeah.
And you pulled the plug?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What's the threshold? Because I think many people have been there. I've been there with both of my exes. I famously break up. I mean, not famously. Who am I? But I break up in threes. Both my two exes, we broke up 3 times before it stuck. I also came from a household where my parents split up 5 times before they actually got divorced. So
that's funny because his father married the same person 3 times and got divorced 3 times.
That's so expensive.
Yeah.
Just separate. Just don't sign the thing. But what's, I think a lot, there's the hope that it's going to work out. I think that's the thing that keeps us in relationships longer than we're supposed to. I think so many people, we stay in relationships longer than we should because there's the hope.
Yeah. I mean, by the time you break up, by the time you break up, you've been in something for a long time, especially with a long-term relationship.
So what was the threshold at which you were like, okay, now this is going to end? What was the last like, but what if, or maybe he will, or just one more month? When did that stop?
Well,
Not like in terms of a date, but like what's the threshold for you that
it wasn't stopping. It just wasn't. And the whole time I was like, hey, this is really painful for me and I'm having trouble getting over it. And these landmines of non-truths, because I can't rely on you, you're lying now. So every time I catch you in a lie, my heart breaks and I'm starting to not be able to mend it all the way. So just so you know, one more time of these, and I don't know which one it will be, because I won't have, and I was very straightforward in this, I will not have the capability at some point to mend my heart back up. So you're on thin ice just because I am. I won't be able to, and I want to. So right now I'm wanting to, and it's becoming harder and harder. So if this happens again, I can't tell you it's the last one because I keep threatening that. But at some point, it will be the last one, and I won't be able to stop myself. I'm going to have to leave. And I did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kudos to you for finally doing that, because that's the hard thing to do.
It really was.
Yeah.
It still is hard. There's still times where I just want to call him.
Yeah. I mean, like I come home sometimes and I miss coming home. My ex P, who I was with for like 2 years, there were periods of time she would just basically live with me for a couple weeks at a time when she moved out of New York, and she would come back to visit, but she'd just stay with me for like a week or two before going back home. And this has actually been hitting me a lot this particular year. I come home and I miss coming home to someone. I miss that so much. It's not even just like, oh, I'm feeling lonely. It's like I miss coming home and someone has like surprise cleaned my room and greets me with a smile and wants to see me.
Well, I thought of that. I thought, do I just miss being partnered up? And I really don't. I really like being single. I really like not having someone there, which is very interesting. But I miss him when I miss it. I miss him very, very specifically. Like sometimes I'm riding home and I'm like, oh, it'd be so good if I just go meet me at home. We'll smoke a blunt when we get there. Really easy conversation, just comfortable. You know, I know him and I know everything that's happening, and I just can't do it because at this point I'm addicted and I have to not do it. I have to actively not do it because I have to believe in my decision, because I really do in my right mind. So I implement other things and other people that I can call so that I can block myself from it, so that I can, you know, when you have an addiction, there's that moment where I can stick this needle in right now. I could put this thing in my mouth. I can eat the pizza without thinking. I can do it. And if you just have that one moment and maybe have a piece of fruit, or that one moment and maybe, you know, have a cigarette instead of heroin, whatever it is, I've been working on implementing that, just putting that space between the bad decision to get back into a loop that was not working. You know, it's hard.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, have you had any contact since the
Yeah, because, you know, logistically you can't break up, you know.
Logistics are the worst part about breakups, because they don't allow you to like, sever the time. It's like, okay, we're done, but like also we have a lot of paperwork to do. Or like my ex like dropped off a bag of my stuff, once, stuff like that. And
yeah, and there's hard lines that I don't want to put, because I know how hard it is to live in New York. We both had to, you know,
we're living together. So it's like,
there's a partnership in this. There's a division of labor. Even I was worried
because he had a show on your network, on the podcast,
Sure.
All this stuff like that.
Yeah, but there's also like, it used to be 2 people cleaning the house, even stuff like that. I was afraid that the house would just go into a mess. There used to be 2 people paying rent. There used to be 2 people having fun. So it's hard. And also like, now we have to figure out, you know, he's moving. He still has most of his shit at my place that was our place. And I'm being gentle on that, because I know how hard it is to find space for it, and that I did get left with the apartment. So I'm working at not worrying about, you know, pulling the entire Band-Aid. I'm kind of stepping down, you know, like you moved out, that's one thing. And we're still on the same insurance, and he's still my pot dealer.
Seriously?
I know.
Chemda.
Well, he gives it to me
New
for free.
York City. Wait, oh, seriously? Is that the,
It's the free part.
is that the alimony? Is that the weed alimony?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, he's being a good boy now, which is another hard thing.
Does he deliver it to you, or does he like give it to somebody else to go? Like, is there an in between, or like are you so physically?
He gives it to me, or he leaves it for me, and I know that it's some part of this is going to have to end, but there's so many changes right now. I'm being as gentle as possible with myself and with him, and more thinking of myself, because we have to be working on ourselves in order to see each other, in order to do logistics. We had to do our taxes together. We have to fill out, insurance together.
I'll have to do that again one more time next year too.
It's hard. Yeah, exactly.
All right, just when you think like, oh, I'm over it. Oh, nope, we have to meet up with the guy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
See, at least like when it's not like a marriage, like, or if it's not like a, just a partnership where, it's when there's no paperwork.
Yeah.
Then it's just about willpower of just not texting.
Yeah. I mean, but when Keith and I broke up, that was rough too, because we had our podcast, which was our baby. So we were forced to continue talking to each other. We might have just lost touch. Yeah.
Time for the fan whore appreciation moment. Okay. This is the part of the show where I like to give a little bit of gratitude to some of the members of my fan whore community on Patreon. And if you don't know what Patreon is, well, it's the reason Billy doesn't have a day job. It's a website where you can get a membership to my fan whore community, and that gives you access to exclusive bonus episodes and private listener discussion groups and oh so much more. And another one of those is a shout out on the show. So thank you so much to Michael Deere, who looks like a happy father of like a lot of children. Dear Lord, this dude is clearly fucking. Good for you, man. And also, if the apocalypse ever hits, you already have your own built-in army. Smart thinking. Shout out to Ariel Ross and Lior Levy. Mazel tov on your wedding. Even if your wedding was, the same weekend as ManWhoreCon and that prevented you from coming to New York, I'm not saying you made the wrong decision. I'm just saying you missed out on a cool weekend. But congratulations, you two sexy peoples. And a big thank you to Justin Dale, who kind of looks like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes all grown up. We like him. He seems fun. And you too can become an official fan whore for as little as $1 per month. You get access to all sorts of wonderful rewards, and you're helping sustain this very podcast. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Membership starts at just $1 a month. On Instagram, I had asked, I was like, hey, what's preventing you from getting a fan whore membership? And one woman was like, well, Billy, because I don't want to support you. What do you call anytime you've paid for any sort of entertainment? Guess what? That supports the artist. And I hope you support this slutty artist yourself. Again, Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I'm going to go back to chatting with members in the champagne room, and you can go back to listening to me wrap things up with Chemda. We talked about that a couple years ago when I had Keith on, but yeah, so like you guys broke up on, I mean, like y'all's situation is wild to me. Because, so basically, the Cliff Notes, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Keith and Chemda you started the show as a couple.
Yep.
Started this podcast before there were podcast pioneers, no big deal, in the Podcast Hall of Fame. And then then y'all got paid to write a book on relationships.
Well, we had already got that contract. We were pretty much done with the book, but there was so much. Our book agent, our book editor was delaying everything.
Okay.
And so we were done, and this guy, I swear he was on crack or something. We had to call him out, like, you're fucking up. And so it just delayed everything.
But like you wrote the book as a couple, or you got the initial deal as a couple, then you broke up in real life. Mm-hmm. But the terms of your contract with the book said you couldn't break up until after a certain period of time.
Yeah. And that's why the book delayed coming out was like, oh my God.
It's like, come on. And then you had to come out to your listeners to be like, we actually broke up forever ago. We're so sorry for lying.
Which honestly, I liked it. I liked it because I needed to get over this and I needed to keep working and I needed to do it. And I couldn't deal with mass emotions coming my way about how people felt about my breakup. So actually, us being in the closet about our breakup was partially very difficult because you're lying constantly. Yeah. But partially it gave me and him and us time to collect ourselves. Yeah. And also, people were worried that if we broke up, the show wouldn't be the same. Now we have proof that it's been the same. It's still funny. We're still doing it. It's fine. You know,
that's great.
So it had some positives and negatives.
And when you came out about the separation with your husband or with your ex, what was the response like from your fans? Because I know that when I had both my breakups, or really any heartbreak, any sort of sad thing, me crying about 13 Reasons Why, the outpouring from, and I have my listenership is minuscule compared to y'all's, but it's like the outpouring of love from these fucking strangers.
Yeah,
you weird fucks, you people, is amazing. I
stopped thinking about them as strangers because I see them online and they connect, and some of these people, it's not their first time, and there's a reason why they're heartbreak. So they came out with truth. They were just like, oh, we thought we heard something, and you did say that you were having some trouble. Some people were shocked. Some people were heartbroken themselves. Some people just sent me love. And all of this is so cliche, but I love it. I love it because I feel like in podcasting, it's not just you're a listener from afar. You know me. You know me more than my parents ever did. I express myself to you. This is how I am in real life. So when you express something to me in response to my life, that's awesome. I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky.
We all are. It's
do it for each other also. Like if you're reaching out to me during my heartbreak, reach out to someone else that's like in your life, maybe close to you, or
who doesn't have hundreds of people hitting you up for it. They might need the extra help.
Yeah, make sure you're doing that to everybody because it feels really good. You just feel seen. You just feel like I'm not alone. I never will be alone, and nobody has to be alone. So there's no need for it. So it helps me out in my life. Like I'm making new friends, and as an adult, it's weird to make friends, and it's been really great and heartbreaking and good.
Well, I'm excited to see what, this journey in the celibacy, which I feel questionably about.
But you get why, right?
I get why. It's, it's just me, the big old perv. But I'm really glad we got to,
me
do
too.
This talk. This is really good.
It was fun.
Yeah. Chemda, where can people go to listen to you to then love you and send you love and warm vibes?
Please love me at keithandthegirl.com. Keith and the Girl is everywhere podcast is. So wherever you're listening to this show, if you can search for Keith and the Girl and subscribe to our podcast, or, give our show a listen. Billy was just on. So start with his.
As of this one coming out, my episode is yesterday, I believe. So I should be right on in there.
And you have a link, keithandthegirl.com/Billy Presido will take you to your episodes.
I've been on many a time. It's always a blast, always fun, and sometimes gets me in trouble with my ex.
You're an incredible sport because I don't hold back with you at all. And I'm also like pretty fucked up on you. I'm not gentle at all.
No, they're not.
No,
guys,
not
it's very rough. And Keith's even worse.
Yes. But it's just, hey, let's get to the heart of it. Don't be embarrassed. This isn't us trying to embarrass you. It's us just kind of going like, we're all freaks. How are you a freak? Our show is less gentle on, the freak aspect, but I love you.
Yeah, I love you guys too. You guys make me feel a part, and it's wonderful. By the way, everyone, you have to hand it the credit for this podcast existing goes to Keith and Chemda.
You're so sweet.
They wrote a great podcasting guide that I used that I got for free as press. And honestly, I don't know that this show happens without that help and me sometimes hitting y'all up. ManwhoreCon, by the way, 100% inspired by you guys have a KTG week. There's a lot that I borrow from them. So, definitely go check out their show, Keith and the Girl.
You do such a good job. I mean, it makes me feel so good to see your success, and that you even related at all to what we did is I'm so proud of you. I know it sounds condescending, but you work really hard and you deserve all the awesome stuff that's coming your way with this. And it's been a really, I see your journey. I see you change. I see what podcasting does to people, and you are definitely there. It's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Dare I say, Chemda might be the godmother of this show. Dare I say.
I'm honored. I dare say.
Well, thank you again so much. And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
I love you. Goodbye.
Can we have a hug?
Oh, yeah. Let me just save this.
No, definitely that. Oh, it was so special and wonderful chatting with Chemda. I want to thank her again for coming on and for being just so open and honest and sharing that with us. Breaking up sucks and is never easy, and is certainly not easy when you've been with someone for as long, as Chemda was with her husband. Go check her out. When she's not crying on microphone, she is being hilarious over at Keith and the Girl. Great podcast, ketg.com. You can also follow Chemda on Twitter at Chemda. That's Chemda. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheBillyPresida. Say hello. Use the hashtag ManWhorePodcast. Let me know what you thought about this week's show. You can also go like the Man Whore Podcast Facebook fan page. I appreciate the friend requests, but they would be way more appropriately allocated to the fan page, where you just go ahead and click that like button. I share articles, photos, thoughts, all sorts of interesting things over there. I've also now got Man Whore Podcast merch. Yes, that's right. We got merch. Go get yourself some Man Whore buttons, panties, t-shirts, whatever, over at gumroad.com/manwhorepodcast. Now, there'll be a link in the show notes. Last but certainly not least, become a member of my fan whore community on Patreon. You can enjoy exclusive bonus episodes and access to secret sex-positive discussion groups when you pledge at least $1 at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I want to thank my patrons and tell them that I appreciate you all for keeping the lights on. We have a good time together. Next week, we have got on Sarah Constantine. She is a sex researcher who has been spending quite a bit of time recently studying female fantasies. So she's on next week to tell us about her findings. I'm off to Cancun this weekend, baby. Oh, yeah. Follow my social media to find out more. But yeah, I'll tell you about it when I get back. Until then, everybody, stay slutty.